In the quiet corridors of a sprawling London estate in 2007, a secret began to whisper through the walls, unseen but undeniably potent. Eleanor, barely 20, had arrived from a small village, a humble maid seeking a stable life and nothing more. She could never have guessed that her life would entwine with Alexander Hawthorne, the heir to a vast fortune, a man whose world was polished, controlled, and predictable. One fleeting glance, one subtle brush of fingers, and the carefully constructed barrier between their lives began to crumble. How could someone so ordinary captivate a man so extraordinary, and yet, every heartbeat, every glance, drew them closer to a dangerous, intoxicating truth? Disclaimer. This is a dramatic content for awareness and discussion only. Eleanor's days were filled with the silent rhythms of service, polishing silver, arranging fresh flowers, ensuring every corner gleamed with meticulous care. Alexander, 28, groomed and bound by expectations, had never been exposed to a presence like hers, a quiet energy that hinted at curiosity, intelligence, and unspoken longing. Their first interactions were innocent. A fleeting look in the hallway, a polite nod over a tray of tea, a small smile that lingered longer than propriety allowed. Yet beneath the surface, something electric began to pulse. It was not merely attraction, it was a connection neither fully understood nor dared to acknowledge, a spark igniting in the shadows of a life built on appearances and rules. Weeks passed, each one threading Eleanor and Alexander closer, stitching moments of subtle intimacy into the fabric of their everyday lives. Alexander found excuses to linger near her, to engage in conversations that seemed mundane but were charged with unspoken meaning. Eleanor's laughter, soft and restrained, became a melody he could not resist, a reminder of a world beyond the gilded cages of wealth and expectation. Their encounters, seemingly accidental, were carefully navigated dances of desire and discretion. By the time summer settled over the estate, the air itself seemed alive with their secret. Late evenings in the garden became stolen opportunities for connection, fingers brushing as they arranged flowers, eyes meeting in silent acknowledgement, whispers that carried across the hedges like confessions. Each interaction was a delicate negotiation between longing and caution, an understanding that what they shared could destroy them if discovered. Every smile, every accidental touch was a rebellion against the world they were born into, a defiance of the rules that sought to contain them. But the thrill of their hidden passion was shadowed by risk. Servants began to notice subtle shifts, the lingering glances, the quiet smiles exchanged in hallways, a warmth in Alexander's demeanor previously unseen. Eleanor, ever aware of the fragility of her position, understood the stakes. Discovery could mean ruin for her, scandal for him, and a rift that might never heal. Yet the temptation, the pull of forbidden love, was irresistible. Their clandestine world became a sanctuary, a fragile bubble of intimacy where the outside world could not intrude, and yet the danger pressed close, unseen but palpable. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples and deep oranges, Eleanor found herself in the library, arranging books as Alexander approached under the pretense of seeking a volume. Their hands touched over the leather spine of a classic novel, a fleeting contact that sent a shiver through both of them. Words faltered, glances lingered, and the room seemed to hold its breath. How long could such a delicate balance persist before the inevitable intrusion of truth shattered it? The house had ears, and fate had a way of revealing secrets when least expected. The question loomed: would their passion survive the looming storm of discovery, or would it be extinguished before it had a chance to truly ignite? And as the night grew heavier with unspoken desire, the distant clatter of a misplaced key, the shadow of an observant housekeeper, and a letter that should never have been seen edged closer, threatening to unravel everything. Could love born in secrecy withstand the pressures of a world that demanded order and propriety? If this story has touched you so far, Kindly comment, "I'm captivated." Share this story with all those who need to hear it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc. And turn on the notification bell for more gripping tales of forbidden passion and heartbreak. Are you ready to step further into a world where every glance, every touch, carries the weight of consequences yet to come? The walls of the Hawthorne estate hold their breath, and the night is far from over. As summer deepened, the estate seemed to pulse with a life of its own, a hidden rhythm that only Eleanor and Alexander could feel. Each day, Eleanor perfected her movements, moving through polished hallways and sunlit parlors, aware that every gesture might be observed. Yet, with each encounter, their connection grew bolder, more daring, as if the very walls conspired to bring them together. One afternoon, Alexander found her in the music room, her fingers brushing over the keys of a grand piano. The notes floated through the air, delicate, haunting, and as he stepped closer, neither could deny the magnetism that drew them together. His hand hovered near hers for a heartbeat too long, and she felt it, an electric pulse that ran straight to her chest. Their eyes met, and in that instant, the world beyond the room ceased to exist. Weeks of stolen moments passed. Whispered conversations in the library, fleeting touches while dusting the balustrade, and shared laughter that echoed in secret corners became the new normal. Eleanor, who had once been timid and self-conscious, began to radiate confidence, emboldened by Alexander's presence and subtle affirmations. He, in turn, felt a freedom he had never known, liberated from the suffocating constraints of his family's expectations. They spoke in half-smiles and quiet glances, a secret language of longing that needed no words, each encounter building layers of tension and anticipation that neither could escape. One evening, under the veil of twilight, Alexander lingered in the drawing room while Eleanor tidied the shelves. Her back was to him as she straightened a stack of letters, but he watched her, captivated by the soft curve of her neck, the gentle sweep of her hair. Finally, unable to resist, he stepped forward. "Eleanor," he whispered, his voice low, threading through the quiet room. She froze, heart pounding, knowing that each whispered syllable carried a weight far heavier than her role as a servant should allow. Slowly, she turned, their eyes locking in an intensity that burned with unspoken desire. The moment hung between them, fragile, suspended in time, as though the universe itself was holding its breath. The following days brought a dangerous new thrill. Alexander's intentions were no longer subtle. His gestures grew more deliberate, his touches longer, brushing against her hand under the pretense of passing objects, lingering near her in ways that teetered on forbidden. Eleanor felt the exhilaration of being wanted, but also the crushing weight of potential discovery. The other servants noticed subtle changes, the hurried glances, the flushed cheeks, the quiet laughter that seemed to vibrate with hidden meaning. And always, there was the ever-present shadow of Lady Hawthorne, whose sharp eyes and exacting standards meant that a misstep could ruin everything. Eleanor's mind raced with questions. Could a love so forbidden survive scrutiny? And yet, every moment with Alexander whispered promises that her heart could not ignore. The danger escalated one rainy evening when a letter, not meant for her eyes, was accidentally delivered to Eleanor. The elegant handwriting belonged to Alexander, words of longing and confession penned with passion, revealing feelings that could ignite scandal if exposed. She read, her breath caught in her throat, the words illuminating the depth of his desire and the intensity of their unspoken bond. She felt both thrill and terror, thrill for the love she had longed for, terror for the peril it represented. Each sentence burned with emotion, a reminder that their secret was no longer confined to fleeting touches and stolen glances. It now lived on paper, a tangible risk that could unravel their carefully balanced lives. In the days that followed, every glance became more charged, every touch more urgent. Eleanor and Alexander moved through the estate like dancers in a tightly choreographed performance, always conscious of prying eyes, of whispered rumors, of the delicate thread holding their secret together. Nights became a refuge where the outside world could not intrude, and their hearts could speak freely. Yet even in these stolen hours, the tension was palpable. What would happen if someone discovered their secret rendezvous? Could passion born in shadows survive the harsh light of truth? Alexander's careful, controlled world was beginning to crack, and Eleanor's simple life was now consumed by desire and danger. A weekend visit brought the threat closer to reality. Alexander's cousin, visiting from Paris, seemed unusually perceptive, lingering too long in hallways, asking pointed questions, and casting inquisitive glances at Eleanor. Each passing moment felt like a countdown toward exposure, a test of their ability to navigate the treacherous waters of forbidden romance. Could love exist where rules forbade it? Could a single misstep destroy everything? Their hearts raced with anticipation, and every whispered word became a battle between desire and prudence. As midnight approached one stormy night, the estate fell silent except for the distant echo of rain and the hurried steps of someone unseen. Eleanor sat in her quarters, letter clutched in trembling hands, heart pounding with a mixture of longing and fear. Somewhere in the house, Alexander was making his way toward her, every footstep a promise, every heartbeat a question unanswered. And in that moment, suspended between fear and exhilaration, the impossible truth crystallized. The deeper their love grew, the more dangerous it became. If this story has touched you so far, kindly comment, "I can't wait." Share this story with all those who need to hear it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and turn on the notification bell for more gripping tales of forbidden passion and heartbreak. Are you ready to step further into a world where every glance, every touch, carries the weight of consequences yet to come? The night is far from over, and the shadows hold secrets that will change everything. By early autumn, the estate had transformed into a stage for clandestine encounters, where every shadow seemed to conceal a secret and every corridor echoed with suppressed longing. Eleanor and Alexander had grown bolder, their stolen moments stretching longer, infused with a mixture of desire and fear that made the air between them almost combustible. One crisp evening, as golden light filtered through the drawing room windows, Alexander leaned closer than ever before. "Do you ever wonder," he murmured, voice low and heavy with emotion, "what it would be like if we could live without these rules?" Eleanor's heart clenched. The question was dangerous, even reckless, yet it hinted at a freedom she had only dared to dream of. Their eyes met, a storm of longing and uncertainty, and in that silent exchange, promises were made without words. The household had begun to sense that something was amiss. Other maids exchanged knowing glances, the footman lingered a second too long when Eleanor passed, and even the cook's sharp eyes seemed to follow her with curiosity. Despite these signs, the pair could not resist each other. Every fleeting touch, every whispered laugh, built an intensity that neither could quell. Alexander, torn between duty and desire, found himself planning moments to be near her, orchestrating errands and tasks that allowed for encounters in the quietest corners of the estate. Eleanor, once timid, now carried herself with a quiet confidence, every movement steeped in a dangerous awareness of her effect on him. Together, they had created a delicate dance of passion and peril, a world in which their hearts ruled above propriety. One evening, the tension reached a new height. Eleanor was dusting the ornate shelves in the library when Alexander entered, holding a book that seemed trivial yet purposeful. His fingers brushed against hers as he handed it over, and the spark was undeniable, igniting a fire that had been simmering for months. "You belong here," he whispered, almost reverently, his eyes scanning her face as if memorizing every detail. Eleanor's breath hitched, and for a fleeting moment, the room seemed to shrink around them. The library, once a place of knowledge and quiet reflection, had become a crucible for temptation, a chamber where rules and rank faded in the face of raw emotion. Every heartbeat carried the weight of forbidden possibilities. The stakes became perilously real when Lady Hawthorne announced her upcoming visit to the estate, a long weekend that would bring friends, acquaintances, and a meticulous inspection of her household. Alexander and Eleanor knew that every glance and every touch would be scrutinized, every misstep potentially devastating. The knowledge of this looming threat added a new layer of intensity to their encounters, each moment now tinged with urgency and risk. Eleanor, holding a delicate silver tray, caught Alexander's eye across the hall. The silent acknowledgement that passed between them spoke volumes. They would survive this test, come what may, but the danger was real, and the consequences unimaginable. That night, Eleanor found herself alone in the music room, fingers trailing over the keys as rain tapped softly against the windows. Alexander appeared at the doorway, water droplets clinging to his jacket, eyes dark and intense. Without a word, he stepped close, and their hands met above the piano, the simple act charged with longing and hesitation. "I can't hide this anymore," he murmured, voice thick with emotion. Eleanor's pulse raced. Their lips hovered, separated by mere inches, yet every fiber of their beings screamed for connection. The storm outside mirrored the turbulence inside, a chaotic symphony of emotions that neither could ignore. Their secret had grown too large for the confines of silence, threatening to spill over into consequences neither were prepared to face. Days bled into nights of whispered plans, secret letters, and careful evasion of prying eyes. Every glance became a message, every casual touch a declaration. The intimacy between them had evolved beyond mere attraction. It had become a lifeline, a tether in a world that demanded restraint. Yet with every heartbeat, the risk of exposure loomed. What if Lady Hawthorne noticed a subtle blush, a lingering touch, or an exchanged glance? Could love born in shadows withstand the scrutiny of daylight? The uncertainty gnawed at them both, amplifying desire and fear in equal measure. The tension reached a climax during a garden soiree, where Alexander's cousin, ever perceptive, began probing, asking questions that hinted at suspicion. Eleanor, in her modest gown, navigated the crowd with careful grace, every step a calculated dance of deception. Alexander stayed close, their proximity both shield and temptation, a constant reminder of what was at stake. The night air crackled with anticipation, every conversation a potential trap, every glance a chance for discovery. They moved through the evening like actors in a high-stakes drama, hearts racing, pulses pounding, both fully aware that one mistake could unravel the delicate web they had woven. If this story has held your breath so far, comment, "I'm hooked." Share it with those who crave forbidden passion. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and turn on the notification bell for more heart-stopping tales of love and danger. Can two hearts entwined in secret survive scrutiny, or will the walls of propriety collapse around them? The night deepens, and with it comes a revelation that will test everything Eleanor and Alexander believe about desire, risk, and the power of the heart. The storm of desire that had been simmering through the estate finally broke one evening, as autumn winds rattled the windows and the first chill of approaching winter crept into the halls. Eleanor and Alexander had grown reckless, intoxicated by the intensity of their forbidden connection, and that night, nothing could keep them apart. In the dim glow of candlelight, they found themselves in the conservatory, the fragrant scent of autumn blooms mingling with the tension that hummed between them. Every glance was a challenge, every touch a daring confession. Eleanor's hand rested on the edge of a marble table, her breath shallow, heart pounding in rhythm with the storm outside. Alexander stepped closer, his voice low and trembling. "I cannot let this continue, yet I cannot resist you." The words were both a warning and a plea, and in that moment, the world outside ceased to matter. The risk had never been greater. Lady Hawthorne's extended stay meant every servant and visitor would be scrutinized, and the knowledge of potential exposure only fueled the fire between them. They stole moments in shadowed corridors, exchanged letters hidden in hollowed books, and shared fleeting touches in rooms where no one else dared to enter. Each encounter was electric, dangerous, and intoxicating, leaving them both craving more. Eleanor, who had once believed her station meant invisibility, now radiated a quiet defiance, every movement and glance laced with intent. Alexander, torn between propriety and passion, found himself drawn deeper into the web they had spun, unable to extricate his heart from the pull of theirs. The tension reached a breaking point during a late-night walk in the estate's gardens. Moonlight spilled over frost-kissed leaves, and the air carried a crisp bite that made them shiver. Alexander took Eleanor's hand, and for a fleeting moment, they walked as though the world belonged only to them. Yet the danger was palpable. The estate's staff could appear at any moment, and a single whisper could unravel everything. He brushed a strand of hair from her face, their eyes locking, and Eleanor felt the weight of their choices pressing down upon her. Could love so intense survive in secrecy, or was it doomed to be extinguished by the cold reality of social expectations? The question lingered between them, unanswered, like the chill in the night air. In the following days, the stakes escalated. Rumors began to circulate among the household, subtle whispers that carried suspicion and judgment. Eleanor and Alexander moved with increasing caution, yet their need for each other intensified, creating a dangerous cycle of longing and restraint. One afternoon, Eleanor was summoned to deliver tea to Lady Hawthorne, who had begun to notice subtle shifts in behavior, a furtive glance here, a lingering touch there. Alexander intercepted Eleanor before she entered the room, pressing a finger to her lips in a silent plea for caution. Their eyes communicated everything that words could not, a desperate urgency underscoring the impossibility of their predicament. The climax approached with terrifying swiftness. A private letter, meant for Eleanor alone, was discovered by one of the staff, and the threat of exposure became imminent. Alexander confronted the situation with a mixture of rage, fear, and determination, determined to protect Eleanor at all costs. They devised a plan to preserve their secret, yet every step was fraught with peril. Their every move had consequences, and the realization that a single misstep could destroy everything they had built added a pulse of electricity to each clandestine encounter. The tension between desire and danger reached a fever pitch, each heartbeat echoing with uncertainty and anticipation. As the candlelight flickered in the hall, Eleanor and Alexander met in a shadowed alcove, the weight of the moment pressing down like a physical force. "No matter what happens," he whispered, voice trembling, "I cannot let them take you from me." Eleanor's hands shook as she clutched his coat, and for a moment, the world outside faded entirely. Every instinct screamed to remain, yet fear whispered of consequences too great to imagine. They held each other in silence, the storm outside mirroring the turmoil in their hearts, a harbinger of the trials yet to come. If this story has gripped your heart so far, comment, "I can't wait." Share it with those who need to experience the intensity of forbidden love. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc. And turn on the notification bell for more unflinching tales of desire, danger, and heartbreak. What will happen when the secrets they've kept so carefully are finally threatened? Can love born in shadows survive the harsh light of truth, or will it crumble under scrutiny? The answers lie just beyond the next revelation, and nothing will be the same again.